All right, so we've got it all now kind of dialed in. We've got all of the portfolios in here, all the right size, all labeled with individual layers. Everything is all set here. The next step is to take anything that you have that are multiple parts that you want to group all together and group them together. So like, for example, the can lights and the can light bulbs. I'm just going to select all of them on the layer. Can light, right click, select all objects, okay, and then group, just type group, enter, and group them together. That way you don't have a million little pieces, like things like even the skylights, where I've got individual pieces here. My gallery might be a little bit more specific because there's so many little parts to it. So all of my light bulbs, all of my little skylight rectangles, those are all grouped together. All of the window panes of glass inside of the front door area, all of those are grouped together as well. And then of course we're going to run our Python script, which is going to rename all of the objects within the gallery properties to match up here the name of the object matches the layer. And remember that Python script, if we want to look at it again, you can type macro on the Mac or right click on your toolbar if you have a PC, go to new tab to, or new button to create a new button. And let me show you, let's see, what is our button here? Edit button, okay, macro. Yeah, and this should actually be in the video for this in the little notes on YouTube. So you can just copy and paste this into here, or copy and paste it into your macro to rename it. This should have already been done though for your previous project. You should already have this button. And now we're ready to export to get it all set and ready to go. I have also moved my object and picked a 0 point. So I selected the whole thing and I said move. And I selected a point, and my point is right on the corner here, and you just kind of memorize where that point is, move it, and then you go 0, enter. And so that'll be at the 0, 0 spot, and you can always keep that in mind when you're working for coordinate purposes. So then we select the whole thing, we go File, Exports, or first we need to make sure in Properties that your units are in meters. Scale it up or down, or scale it up most likely. And then we go File, Export selected, and I'm going to just title it Kellogg Gallery with Portfolio, replace it. And formatting, you want it to be the same as mine. So just match this. I'll take a second here, do that one. Make sure these are all checked, including map Rhino Z to ObjY. Naming, this is an important one. Make sure all of the naming stuff is the same here. And mesh. Okay, we're making sure all of those are the same. Okay, and then I'm going to do more polygons. Just the more the merrier here. We're going to clean it up in Blender. So we go ahead and hit OK. And it's all done. Then I'm going to minimize my window, open up Blender. Okay, so now we're going to bring this into Blender. Go ahead and delete the cube there, go File, Import, OBJ. Find your OBJ file, but also click on the little geometry here, turn off Split by Object and Split by Group. That's why we put things in groups in Rhino, so that I won't have 5 million light bulbs. Okay, gallery demo objects, what I'm importing. It's going to take a second. Okay, and I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this light, and I'm going to delete the camera too, because those are the only two things in this that are actually not geometry, and I don't want it to get confusing when I do the next step. So you can always add add cameras and stuff later. Shift A brings this up, camera right there, and then of course light is right there. So you can add that later, but we're not going to. We're gonna go ahead and put this in wireframe just to see how chaotic of a scene we've got with all of this geometry. So just like we did last time, we are going to select everything. Last time we actually merged vertices by distance and all that stuff one at a time. I'm going to try to do it all at once here, see how it works. And if it doesn't work for you, just do it one at a time. You won't have as many things as I've got. So it's in object mode. I'm going to hit tab, bring it into edit mode. I've got something selected here that is not a mesh. No, I don't. Let me just select it this way and see if this works. Yeah, okay. Switch to edit mode. Make sure it's all selected. Make sure vertices are turned on. Right click. Merge vertices by distance. So we removed 4 million vertices or something like that. So that's all done to the whole scene. Awesome. Now let's decimate things. And instead of decimating things one at a time, we're going to again try to do this all at once. So I'll just select one part, but I'm going to probably just do it up here. So it's the top piece. So I'll do the can lights, and then I'm going to add a modifier to it. And then I'm going to go with decimate. And it's going to be the same modifier because I'm going to use planar, even if it's circular or whatever. I'm going to always use planar here. It's going to keep my angle threshold at 5 degrees. Not a big deal for flat stuff, but that's going to be a big deal for more curvy stuff. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply that modifier to everything by going Shift A, or A, not even Shift A, but just A. And then I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to go to Make Links, and I'm going to go to Modifiers. And this is going to apply that modifier to all the objects. We have now decimated everything in the entire scene. Awesome. Now how do we apply that? To apply it, we just go back to our object mode here, and we go to Convert to, Mesh, click on that. It takes a minute, it thinks about it, and it's basically applying all of those modifiers. So now, in theory, if I'm right, if I click on this object, under modifiers, you see nothing. Awesome. But we've also got some stuff that we don't want to look chunky, so I'm going to go through and click on like this, which is like more smooth, and right click on it and go Shade Smooth. And that's nice because that modifier will carry on to other programs. All right. So also want to shade the light smooth, and I want to shade the light bulbs smooth. To these, shade smooth. What else do I want to shade smooth? Probably these need to be shaded smooth. And so this is just a way of telling, and it will work also with when we're in the Unreal Engine, that setting will carry on. So, okay, we are now ready to UV unwrap and add our materials to stuff. Ooh, what do we got here? That doesn't look right, does it? What's going on, Mr. Door? Well, I will fix that and be right back. Okay, so now we're ready to get started with the portfolio pieces, doing the UV unwrapping. We're going to go ahead and start off with the very first one here, which is in the back, and we're going to switch from object mode to edit mode, go to UV editing here. I don't know why it wasn't going there. Okay, now we're ready to rock. Okay, so cool. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to New, and we're going to change this to 2048 by 2048. Don't ask why. It will optimize things later on. 2048 by 2048. It's a nice size, but not too big. Black alpha, all works. Okay. Then we come over here, switch this to edit mode, go to UV and Smart UV Project, or Project, one of the two. There it is. All right, so now we are ready to take this into Photoshop. But first we want to make sure which face is our front face. So I click on that. Bottom one is the one we want to put the work on. So let's go hit A again, selects everything. And then we'll go to UV, export UV layout, put it in my materials folder. Always keep this folder especially organized. Export it. And then we're going to go back over to Photoshop. After we find it here, S bar, right click, open with Adobe Photoshop. Okay, and then we're going to take the image that was going to go on the artwork and put it in this little square here. So let's find that image. And I've got it in my folder, not in the headshots here, but in 2021, virtual files, portfolio assets, placards. And there it is, Susanna Barrios. This is what we're going to use. So we're going to open this with Photoshop as well. Okay. Pull it down. Select it all. Move it with, hit V and move it. And you know what? I think I'm going to change the size over here first. Just makes things easier. So select this one, go to image size, and it's too big. So I'm going to just make it 2000. Okay. Click and drag it over here. Okay, that's more manageable so I can free transform it easier. So Control T to free transform. And I'm just going to make it fit on that box. It doesn't matter if I mess up the aspect ratio here, it will stretch and modify when it goes onto the object. You just want to kind of make sure you're snapping to the edges here, and you got it all set. Once that's done, we're going to go G and do a bucket and drop in all white so that we make the rest of the frame white. Okay, close this image. No, I don't want to change it. Keep the original just in case. This is the one we're going to use as the material file. Oh, first we've got to go to our layers, which aren't up yet. Layers, delete the back layer that has the vector lines on it, and we're going to save this one as a JPEG. PNGs tend to be a little bit larger, so I want to save it as a JPEG just to try to reduce the file size. If it has transparency to it, which I think there's one that will have transparency, you do want to make it a PNG, but this one is going to be fine. So I'm going to go save. And then I look at the file size. 1 megabyte is a little bit too big. I'm just going to back it down to right there. It should be good. 661. I like it. Okay. And if it doesn't look good when we get into the Unreal Engine, we can always remake it. So that's why we saved the original file. Okay, so now we're going to close this, and it says, do you want to save the PNG? And I say no, because I've already saved it as a JPEG. Then I'm going to come back to Blender, and I'll go back to layout mode here so we can see it a little better, put it in the rendered view, and then I'm going to add my material, which it already has one here. Object mode, I can delete this material, and then I can add a new one. New material. And I'm going to call this bar, go to my base color here and do an image texture. And then I'm going to go to open, find my materials folder, and look for that material we just made. You can see I've already got some of them done here. There it is. Open the image. And voila, so that is our first canvas. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that step. Let me go ahead and I'll just do it one more time. So go to this one. Okay, so that's M-hua. All right, so let's now we switch this back to our UV editing, and There you are. Okay. So we're just going to use the same layout. So this should be already the 2024, I believe, by 2024. We'll double check it in a minute here. But we can see if I selected the face, I've still got it in face select. So I selected the face. That's where that face is going to be once we first we got a smart UV project. Boom. Hit A here to see where everything is. And then we're going to click on the face to see where that face is. Okay, so there we go. So what happened there is I didn't have the whole thing selected. I just UV unwrapped one face, which you can do, which comes in handy in other circumstances. But make sure you hit A to have the whole thing selected before you go to Smart UV Project. Boom, click on the face. Now we know it's here. And it doesn't matter, again, if it's rectangular. It will balance out when we do the free transform later. So now we go UV, export UV layout, put it in the materials. And there we go. Go over to Photoshop. Open up. I think I'm just going to make this a list and put it in order. Created. There we go. That way it'll be right in order there. So now I hit right click and I go to Open with Adobe Photoshop. And if you've already got what I'm doing here, you can skip ahead. But if you want to see it one more time, here it is. All right. And which one was it again? Bottom one. Okay. So then we go back to our placards here. And we look for there it is. Okay. Open with Adobe Photoshop. Drag it down. Check our image size. Make sure it's not ginormous. 4,000 is a little big. Change it to 2,000. Grab it. Move it over here. Close. I don't need to save it. Want to keep it the same. Control T to free transform it, and we just make it fit perfectly. G for paint bucket. Oh, enter. G and white border. File. Save as JPEG. Oh wait, we have got to flatten it. Actually, I think we can just save as. It's not going to do it. Save that as a JPEG. So it's got more compression on it. Materials folder. And I'm going to go all the way up here. One down. Yeah, that's fine. Don't save the PNG, and I've got it in case I need that UV map later. Back to Blender, and then switch it back to layout. Look at it in rendered. Let's change the material. It's in object mode. I can delete. New. Title it with the artist if you'd like. And these materials will transfer when they go to Unreal Engine, and they will be titled and make it easier in case something gets messed up. But it is another step. Image texture, open, materials. Open image, upside down. This is why we leave the Photoshop open here. Okay, so now I got to do it again because I closed it. So now I'm going to just keep doing that with all of these, and I'm going to speed through it to make things go a little bit quicker, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing.